Hello there. I know you've been hearing me say about changing my video lights, and I dug out these, which I've had for a little while sitting on the shelf, and I thought maybe they'd be good enough. So anyway, I thought, right, this bit of wire's a bit too small, so oh dear, we'll have to change that and make it a reasonable length and work out how I was going to attach these to the bench and all the rest of it, you know, just your general things. So I thought I'd take one apart. Now, in true Blue Peter fashion, let's put that to one side, and here's one I did earlier. Right, so there we go. What we have is we have a reflector, we have a diddy little driver, and we have the there's the driver, there's the LED, and our short bit of cable. Now, I haven't actually done anything to this yet. There's one obvious flaw which needs addressing before anybody even starts, and I think anybody who's done anything with electricity will see exactly what the fault is. This is meant to stop you getting electrocuted if there's a fault to the metal case, and it's not. It's not connected at all. So as well as removing the old bit of cable, we are going to have to connect an earth as well and remake the wires onto this driver. Now, this driver is stuck down with some sort of resin. It will pop free if I wedge it and lever it and all the rest of it, so I might well do that. Or alternatively, I could just I won't need the cutters, but if I actually just unscrew the cable gland from the back, you might also notice that we're a little bit closer than we normally are. I'm trying a new lens on the camera and seeing how that goes. The waterproofing's there, I can't deny that. Let's just take that little grommet off. Now, because that goes straight into the driver, they obviously assemble this as a complete unit. What I'll do, I think, is I will chop this about here, like that. Bit easy, wasn't it? And I'll just strip off the insulation completely like that, so that these two wires can just come inside the case. So there we go, like that. So all I need to do now is attach some new cable, really, and it just so happened that here we are. We have some flexible pond style cabling. Now, because this is UK spec, hopefully you can see that. If I see if I can get it to the camera and get the camera to focus on it. Is the camera going to focus on it? No, it's not. Oh, nearly. There we go. You can actually see that the amount of copper in the wires is quite a lot more. Now, it's not necessary for this particular light, but that's the cable I've got, and that's the cable I'm going to use. So what I'll do is I shall just strip this back and carry on from there. So let's cue the focus, and here we go. There we go. Let's get back into focus. Sorted. Right. Back in a moment. Okay, now we're back, and as you see, we have a bit of cable, and I have deliberately made the ends long, but the first thing I'm going to do, just so that I don't forget, is I'm going to put the metal bush on, which can go there. Then I'm going to put the ceiling grommet on, that, and this will fit just over the cable like so. And before I put it all together, I'm just going to make sure that yes, grommet is on the right way round. That fits up to there, that fits up to there, that goes in there, and if that's there, then the earth can reach right around and connect to a screw terminal, which is exactly what we want. So let's just put this lot through in here and just hook them out this side like that. So like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just push that through so that it just comes through, and I'm going to bring the ceiling grommet down so that it's at roughly the right space, and then hopefully I can still, with a bit of brute force and ignorance, more brute force than that, just there we go, screw on the, yes, I know I should get a set of a spanner or do the job properly with the proper tool, but hey, this is Chinese and it's only going indoors, so it's not actually really that critical. But there we go, we'll just turn that cable round, and as you see the one inside is still turning, but right, there we go. So put those away. So what we're left with now is we're left with an earth terminal, which we need as long as we've got, because this needs to connect to a screw somewhere. Now they've actually got screw holes in the back of this, but they don't give you extra screws, which is a bit of a shame, because that would make it even easier. And let me have a look in my box of miscellaneous screws, the miscellaneous screws box, see if I've got one with the correct thread. What's that one? Yeah. Is it the right depth as well? Does it get properly in? I believe it does. Yes, yes it does. Right, so let's put the box away. Okay, so what we need is we need to put a, take that out for a moment. The wire strippers. You can hear a lot of rattling from other bits on the bench, I'm sorry about that, but there we go, I'm throwing things on the floor again, do it every video. Just take that off a touch, strip that back, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just twist that round, see if I do it on camera, it's probably better, and put a solder lug on the end like that. Now let's just we'll do this the non-usual way, by holding it, which most people say, how can you hold a hot piece of metal? Well, you just can. So you solder the cable like so, make sure that the lug is going to be tinned. Now these lugs are actually again, you can cheat because these are pre-tinned, and as you can see the solder flows really nicely around there, so if you've got enough solder on it, then you can just chop the end of that off, so that you're not left with too much. And what we're also going to do with the live and the neutral is, rather than cut them extremely short, I am going to shorten them a little bit, make them about that length. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of heat shrink, and before you solder and clip anything, you cut it in half so that you can put a piece on each wire. So that's one side, and the live and the neutral, again, just shrink that down a little bit. And then all we do is, here I'm trying to be posh and using my cutters, but my wire strippers, but normally I would do that with just with the end of my cutters, and yeah, because I can't get in there. Yes, I can. And do the same for that one, and do the same on that one. Let's just nip a bit more off. So let's put that over there. So we've got heat shrink on the brown, and then all we do is we'll try and twist them together. No, I'm going to need more on that, and I'm going to do it the easier way. I know I'm using my cutters as strippers, but hey ho. Now you notice I will overlap them like that, so that both will bind together, but you're not left with a great big knot of wire, so it looks like a great big bulge, and just completely flow over the entire joint. You can, if you want, use crimp connectors. You can use you know, butt splice connectors, whatever they call them. Yeah, although why you would ever want to splice your butt, I have no idea. Come on, off you come. There we go. Yep, heat shrinks on. Twist. If you want, you could plait these together, take them into 3 separate strands, and oh, you could do all of that. Now this wire isn't twisting as nicely, which tends to make me think it might be copper coated aluminium, although it does seem to take solder reasonably well. So again, just fold it over and round itself a couple of times like that. And then completely flow the joint, making sure that it's all covered like that. And then the last job, as you can see, that will never come apart now. It is still warm, by the way, and there's no sharp edges there, so you just get the bit of heat shrink, move it up like so to cover both sides of the join, and again to cover both sides of the joint like so. And then I'll just rattle everything around while I get the heat gun. There we go. Back into the corner it goes. They're perfectly safe now to just put inside there, like that. And this can then go with our new screw underneath there. Now the fact that it's at a slight angle won't matter, because when we screw it down, if I can get the screwdriver in the screw, there we go, so that when we screw it down like so, like that, you now have a proper earth on the end of these cables. So that's really all there is to it. Then all that's left is to actually put the lamp back together. Now these are a bit flimsy, these reflectors, because they are made of a very thin foil, and all that goes is there. So that goes there. Then you've got 2 screws that hold the reflector in, so just make sure it's centered. There we go, dropping things again. Over the just make sure it's centered over the diode. There we go, that's pretty good. Try not to push it flat and bend it, because there's, as I say, it's only a thin foil. And then there we have it. We have a light. Now I find it easier to take the glass out. Be careful, because they haven't actually smoothed off any of these edges, and they look like they've just broken these off with pliers. But what you want to do is get this seal and make sure it sits in the groove, so that it's like that. Then you can lay the glass on top, like so, and that should hold the seal in place while you screw the cover on with the 4 larger screws. And that is really all there is to it. I can't honestly remember where I got these from. I think they may well have been Banggood, but I have been sitting with these on my shelf for over a year. The new ones may be slightly different. The new ones may have the earths connected. Too many people may have made complaints about it. But if they haven't, they ought to have done. And no, see, flying everywhere. And we'll just do that last one up. So that is actually going to be pretty well waterproof now, because I know it says IP65, but you've now got a full seal around a solid case. There are actually no holes in the back that go through to the case, and that is pretty well sealed with that grommet there, although I haven't actually tried to force water into it. And then you have your cable as long as you need it. Now I'm going to just measure it off, because this is still actually on the roll. Let's measure off about 1.5 to 3.5, about 3.5 meters, maybe 4 of cable. If this bench is 1.23, 1.2s is 3.6 meters, so yeah, just about 11 feet of cable. And because I'm actually not going to put a plug on it yet, because I haven't quite decided how I'm going to wire this, and I say I haven't decided how I'm going to wire it, I mean whether I'm actually going to plug it straight into the wall, or whether I plug it into a relay and control it with a DMX light controller, or I've got various options anyway. It all depends on where I put it and how I actually hang it. Now you just have to cut gently, but you don't want to cut through any of the insulation. You just need to score it down until it breaks open itself. Now this, being sort of waterproof pond rated cable, doesn't sort of split like the PVC covered stuff. So yeah, you can see I've just nicked the insulation there, so I will have to do that properly, and that's probably because this scalpel is blunt as the proverbial. So what I'm going to do first is I will strip the ends, like that, just to give me enough cable. Twist them together, twist them together, twist that together. Now I'm also going to point the light not at the camera, but where the camera can still sort of see it. And I'm going to first of all get my multimeter, unwrap the cables, and first of all I'm going to test for continuity between the earth wire and the case now. So now we have a good earth, so I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to get my super duper testing cable, which is this one here with the little clip connectors on. These are actually brilliant little connectors. I've got a box of them. They're getting quite expensive on eBay, but I managed to get a box of 50 for a very reasonable price a long time ago, and yeah, I like them. I know Clive's got his safe block, and I used to have one when I was working professionally in that sort of industry, but don't have one at home. So and there we go. The light's on, and it's showing about 9 watts. Now that's a little bit brighter than the bench lighting. Let's just turn it down so there. So let me hold it away from the bench, and let me put something like that on the bench and see how it lights it up. See, it's not really having an effect on the camera, even if I bring it to, well, I have to bring it sort of fairly close to get rid of that shadow. So yeah, probably not bright enough for photographic work, but certainly bright enough for security lights or pathway lights or anything like that. So again, let's not blind the camera. And the watt meter is showing between 8 and 9 watts, 850 milliwatts. So what am I saying, 850 milliwatts? Between 8.5 and 9, sorry, 8.5, there we go, 9 watts, so 8.5 watts and 9 watts. And so that's definitely a 10 watt LED. Hope that was interesting, and that you actually like what I did there. If not, we'll have to work something else out for the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.